Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. We begin our video with a warm-up story. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Be more productive. This story's about my worst ever manager, and I've had some baddies. It was a software startup on the sales side. Those are normally demanding environments. Disclaimer, I try to own all of my shortcomings in order to improve as a person, so rarely throw blame others' way if it can be avoided. This guy's incompetence made me miserable. Anyway, I complained to him about having too large a workload, having to stay late every night, and ultimately needing help. He told me my productivity wasn't good enough. He sent this humiliating and patronizing message with a load of productivity tips, copying the whole team. Tip number 1. Turn off your notifications. Some snazzy paragraph talking about notifications distracting you from the task at hand. Okay, granted, I have notifications on. Maybe I'm wrong. Turn off all notifications. Later that day, in a meeting with the manager and team, he's talking about work that's not been completed. He turns to me and asks, "Did you get my Skype message this afternoon?" With the biggest grin I've ever felt cross my cheeks, "Nope, I turned off all my notifications." He grumbled something. I didn't hear what it was. All I could see was the entire team, international colleagues on video call included, desperately trying not to laugh. He was fired a couple of months later, and I've never been so relieved. The CEO near enough apologized to me for having to endure him so long. Up until that point, I still blame myself for the misery he was bringing me. And our second story. Trying to get someone else fired because you have no control over them might bite you in the butt. 4 years ago, I was hired for this company that made generic versions of drugs to be their part-time IT person. They recently bought an office that happened to be across the street from where I lived. It paid good money, and I could hold it in a full-time job at the same time after everything got stable in the next 3 months while I helped corporate convert them to their network. Upon my arrival for the first day, I was introduced to the staff there. The HR manager for that branch and his assistant were the first. We'll call him Christian and his assistant Mariel. From the start, I didn't really trust him. He seemed shady and gave me a bad vibe that I could never shake when he was around. Mariel was pleasant, but never really said anything. He showed me the picture of his young son doing well at soccer and even younger daughter, as if I care about kids. After the initial meet and greet, I was placed in my office. Yes, a whole office to myself as a part-time person. He called the corporate office from my office phone and asked them why they didn't tell him I was coming to work there. They said the reason is because I was to report to the director of HR at the corporate office and the manager of IT there at corporate and not him. He did not like this at all. He shot back at them with arguments of, "What if discipline is necessary?" and all sorts of things like that in front of me. They told him not to worry about that, as he's not responsible for me. They are. Now, a little about me. I'm a taller, darker-skinned male, and I get along well with people from all walks of life. I also read and understand spoken Spanish pretty well, but never had much practice speaking it. So I don't do it. This is an important point. You'd do well to keep this in mind. A few weeks go by and I get to know most everyone in every department very well. I'm very well liked among everyone in the office and in the warehouse area. The warehouse area is comprised of mostly Hispanic men and women mixing the chemicals, boxing, and shipping the drugs and other tasks of that nature. We interact only because some of the computers out there tend to have odd issues because of the software they use. While I'm troubleshooting, we talk, and that's how we develop a good working relationship. The one thing everyone who works in the warehouse and in the office consistently warns me about is not to piss off Christian because he is a corrupt person and will try everything in his power to get you fired if he doesn't like you. Sometimes they'll say he will enlist the help of his other friend in the office. We'll call him Juan. At least half of them also tell me that they're at least 99% sure he's sleeping with Mariel and one other woman in the office who we'll call Jasmine. I'm not the type of person to get involved with office drama, but I'd be a fool not to heed the exact same warning from everyone I get to know there. One day, I came back from my lunch break 5 minutes past when I should have as I lost track of time. When I got back to the office, Juan calls over to Christian in Spanish. He just came back in, and he's 5 minutes late. I made no visual cue that I understood what he said, but I turned my head in his direction to let him know I heard him speak and continued to walk to my office. Since I now know that they're watching me, I now wonder as to what extent they're watching me. The next day I come in and do my rounds to check equipment. I go into the server room, which is connected to Christian's office for some stupid reason, and find that the AC is off. He does this more than a few times a week because it's too cold, not giving a single thought that the equipment can overheat and bring down the entire site. I've told him multiple times not to turn it off, so it's corporate, but they can do nothing because no one catches him in the act. As I'm walking out, Juan is walking in, and I hear him say to Christian in Spanish, "He's rarely ever late. This might be difficult." To which Christian replies, "Don't worry, I'll get him. I told corporate about him being 5 minutes late yesterday." All right, mother effers. It's on like a terrorist making it through airport security. I called my manager at the corporate office and told him that Christian turned off the AC in the server room and it felt like it was about 80 degrees in there. My manager says, "I wish we could put a camera in there and catch him in the act." I replied with, "Me too." Already my plan was formulated from his one wish, and I was about to become the mother effing genie. The following day, I came in armed with a wall surge protector that doubles as a hidden camera. I made sure I put a hefty 64GB SDHC card in there as I planned to do some long-term recording, even if it was in black and white. I put it in Mariel's office, which was adjacent to his, turned on the AC again, and left. I let it record for the remaining 2 weeks during the holidays just before New Year's. I retrieved the device on the last day before the end of the year and reviewed the 16 gigabytes of footage. Lo and behold, I did catch him turning off the AC. However, I also caught him turning off anyone watching him make a porno with Mariel one week and Jasmine the next, in various positions, on the desk. The operation was a massive success. The first day back in the office, I called the manager and said that I walked into my office with an envelope on the floor and an SDHC card in it that had Christian being involved in extracurricular activities. He asks, "What do you mean?" I asked him to get with IT security and take a look at the folder named OMFG on my hard drive for further details because I didn't want to say it over the phone. He does and gets really silent for a while before saying, "Oh boy, I'm going to have to call you back." About 20 minutes goes by and I get a call from him and IT security. They ask that I close the door and then the questions come in a flurry. Was there any indication on the envelope who sent it? Any markings? Does anyone else know about this? Do I have any idea who might have done it? I replied to all of them with no, and that it was slipped under my door because I saw the envelope as soon as I opened the door. I was then told to keep this very silent and they will contact me further if necessary. 2 hours later, I receive a call from the director of HR and IT security, and they ask that I close the door. The director asks me again if anyone knows about this, and I tell them no, because I'm not getting in trouble for anyone since this seems to be a serious infraction. Corporate offices love it when you do exactly what they say. He said it is, and that they will be investigating further. I was then instructed to continue my normal duties, and they will take it from there, contacting me if they need to. I'm as giddy as a schoolgirl with a brand new iPhone at this point, with a smile that probably rivals the Cheshire Cat himself. The day after that, I do my rounds, turn on the AC in the server room again, and say hi to people. Lunchtime comes, I head out. About 30 minutes into my lunch break, I get a call from one of the warehouse guys asking if I know why corporate office is here suddenly. I tell him that I don't, but I'm sure we're going to find out. Seems like a good time to come back from lunch early. I get back and the whole office is secretly talking about why the HR director came in and demanded a meeting with Christian. One of the girls asks me if I know, and I said I did not, as I came back because someone there told me what was going on and it sounded interesting. One of the guys from IT security came in my office and closed the door, saying that they were taking his laptop with them and not to worry about it because they're going to remove it from my inventory here. Later on, they called me into the conference room saying that Christian would be terminated because this type of misconduct falls on upper management and not those under him. Shortly after that, the entire office was ecstatic when they heard the news, except one, of course, but kept it under wraps. One girl was in tears because she said Christian used to relentlessly harass her because she turned down all of his advances, but was afraid to report him for fear of retaliation. He was dismissed that day and told that he could come back the next day to gather his things after they put them in a box. True to their word, I came in the next morning and did my rounds with the AC being on and all his crap put into one box. I saw him park his car and come out of it smoking a cigarette. He doesn't smoke to my knowledge, but he did that day at least, and left crying like his mother beat him for talking back to her or something with his box. Corporate asked me if I would consider moving to join them at their office up north, but I declined. I ended up leaving myself soon after and found out through one person I still keep in contact with that Juan, Mariel, and Jasmine all quit one after another in that order. Honestly, I feel bad for Christian's wife and kids, assuming they found out why he was fired, but better they know the truth that he's an unfaithful, controlling D-bag now than later. I don't understand people. Rule number 1 is you don't F with IT. They can do all kinds of voodoo with your computer/network stuff. They are the last person you want to make enemies with, especially if you're not squeaky clean yourself. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.